welcome to the best and hardest Alphabet Platinum Challenge you will find on YouTube. Source, trust me, bro. For those of you that don't know, we're picking a game that starts with each letter of the alphabet, starting from Z, going all the way up, platinuming / getting a 100% on each one of them. So far, we have done Zombie Army 4, East 8, XCOM 2, Wolfenstein 2, Visage, Undertale, The Evil Within, and Sifu. Have some pretty rough games to do still, including Outlast 2, Hollow Knight, Fortnite, Black Ops 3, Back 4 Blood, among many others coming up later in the challenge. But for our R game, I went with Resident Evil 2, which a lot of people say is the best game in the series. Remember to like, comment, and subscribe so you don't miss out on the upcoming videos, and let's get into the video. Before visiting Spooky Land, let's quickly go over the steps to get this platinum. Step 1. Do Leon's A campaign while getting all available collectibles and not using a healing item. Step 2. Do Claire's A campaign without opening the item box. Step 3. Do Leon's B campaign while getting an S rank and getting less than 14,000 steps. Step 4. Do Claire's B campaign on hardcore while getting an S rank. Step 5. Beat Leon's campaign on hardcore. And Step 6. Do the DLC. So clearly, lots of playthroughs incoming, so buckle up, and let's go on and enter Raccoon City Police Department. Our story begins with the best character in all of Resident Evil, Leon. We are a new police officer making our way to Raccoon City Police Department. Before getting there, we decide to take a little pee break at the local gas station. Maybe grab a few snacks for the road. You know how it is. We quickly notice that something is not right here. Everything is tossed around, bloodied bodies on the ground. We eventually see a zombie. Very quickly, I decide I need to get away from this place, and I make my grand escape, only to find Claire outside having a smoke break. Instead of going out in a blaze of glory fighting the zombies, we run. Very far and very fast away from these flesh eaters. Things don't go according to plan, and we are now on our own and walk our way into the police station, popping the first trophy of this journey. The police station is spooky. It's dark, and there's even more zombies trying to get a piece of that sweet ass. We find our boss, little buddy Marvin, hanging out, post gangbang with some zombies. He gives us some instructions on what we're supposed to do, but I don't really listen to what he has to say. I've played enough Resident Evil games to know that I'm going to have to find a couple pieces to a puzzle to unlock the next area. So that's what I set out to do. Along my way, I found some wooden boards, and to avoid being scared by the zombies, I boarded up a window, and that got me a trophy. This game is kind enough to give you defensive weapons, and things like flash grenades, or knives, or real grenades, or a little dildo stick to use when a zombie grabs onto you so you don't take damage. Using one of these for the first time gets a trophy to pop. In true Resident Evil fashion, a lot of trophies pop early on in this game. Going for collectibles, I came across a dial safe. By opening it, I got a trophy. I then found a weapon upgrade and threw it on, which popped another trophy. I then decided to play Bob the Builder, combine some items together, which popped another trophy. Continuing on my collectible journey, I found an inventory increase item and got a trophy for increasing it once. And then I found little suckbag Mr. Raccoon and gave him a metal breakfast and got a trophy for destroying my first one. I opened a portable safe and got a trophy, and then I teabagged a zombie with a knife and got a trophy for defeating a zombie with a knife. I got all these trophies in like a 10 to 15 minute period. Truly just trophy after trophy. The first part of this game really follows the simple Resident Evil formula. I explore a dark, spooky place looking for an item that eventually allows me to open a door somewhere, which then gets me another item that I can use to open another door, which eventually gets me part of a puzzle. I continued making my way through the police station, becoming increasingly paranoid, rounding corners. I learned very, very early on in this game that they just love putting zombies directly next to corners. I eventually make my way upstairs and come across my worst nightmare, the liquor. In later playthroughs, I learned how to kind of deal with them, but early on I was struggling hard. These things are blind, but have great hearing. So if you run or make really any noise, better go grab a bottle of lube from Diddy's house, because you are about to get bent over. I learned this very quickly. The first one I came across instantly tried to eat me. Luckily, I had a flashbang on me and shoved it in its mouth. After shooting it, I got 2 trophies. One was for shooting a grenade I fed to an enemy, and another one for paralyzing a licker's sense of hearing. I continued on to one of 3 puzzle pieces I needed, when another licker came to say hello. Great. I spent way longer than I should have going for this trophy, but eventually I shot him out of the air and got a trophy for shooting a zombie dog or licker out of the air. And shortly after that, I got a trophy for solving the goddess statue puzzle. I then came across our Resident Evil recurring boss, G1, better known as William Birkin. This first stage isn't too bad. I just kind of kited him around in a circle, getting in shots where I could, and he pretty easily fell. I continued exploring around a little bit more, and eventually made my way back into the police department. I felt like I was getting some pretty good progress in, and I was wondering where this infamous Mr. X was. Maybe he was just scared of me and didn't really want to come. No, found out he wasn't. He was just playing hide and seek and decided he now wanted to play hide the pickle with me. He is a big man, and he is a scary man, and he is an angry man. So to try and cheer him up, I decided to shoot off his hat. I was wrong in my assumption, and he did not like that, surprisingly, and he decided to chase me. Pretty much forever. But I did get a trophy for doing that, so suck on that one, Mr. X. I eventually made my way downstairs after getting the new puzzle pieces I needed, and ran into fan favorite Ada Wong. She seems so helpful and nice. I can't imagine her ever having an ulterior motive that gets shown towards the end of the game. But I walk out with my new girlfriend to go on a little midnight stroll and officially leave the police department earning myself a trophy. I entered the police station as a new cop. I left as a man with a girlfriend. What a magical place. During my walk with future Mrs. Leon Kennedy, I picked up a document which ended up getting me a trophy for reading a letter left by Jill. This was actually a DLC trophy, which I didn't even know about, but I got it, and that finished off that DLC pack, so kinda cool, I guess. Anyway, I continued on my date with Ada. We had so much in common. I think I might have to confess my love for her on the first date. I liked walking, she liked walking, I liked killing zombies, she also liked killing zombies. I loved her, she was just using me. It was a match made in heaven. We continued on our sewer walk, and I eventually fell down a place I should not have gone. Cue in next boss battle, the big alligator. Like, really big. Like, way bigger than a normal alligator should ever be. So to show off in front of my new girlfriend, I decided to turn around and run. And run and run. Dipshit alligator got a flammable exploding pipe stuck in its mouth, and I shot it and it blew him up, and finished the fastest boss battle ever. Shortly after this, Leon decides to take a little break, and now we get to play with ourselves as Ada. That sounded wrong. Now we get to play with our Wong. Nope, that still sounded wrong. The character in the game, Ada Wong, we then had to play with her. Much better. Her segment is super short, and it's basically just playing with this new fancy device. And by only using the EMF visualizer and not shooting at all, I got a nice trophy for doing so. I also immediately got a trophy for finishing Ada's segment. The sewers were a confusing nightmare, and it was all pretty much to get chess pieces for a puzzle. That's pretty much it. The only notable enemy that is introduced in the oogly moogly slimy meatball man, there's a lot of them. They're like poisoning you, so kind of want to not get near them. And During this section, I finally got the trophy for opening all safes and locks in the game. Found a nice hallway a little later on where there were a couple zombies out for a smoke break. By throwing a grenade, killed all of them, and got a trophy for killing 3 enemies at once with a sub-weapon. Little Meat Man decided to come back for round 2, looking uglier than before. This next boss arena is pretty small, and he is pretty large, which is a very bad combo. But since I was playing on a nice easy difficulty, I just put a lot of ammo into him, so when I used the crane for the first time, he instantly got knocked off the ledge. This got me a trophy for defeating stage 2G, using the crane only once. This allowed me to use the Disney World tram and leave the sewers, which got me a trophy. Finally made it to the endgame at the research facility. This place wasn't too bad and was mostly just upgrading a keycard to gain access to another area, to get another upgrade to the keycard, to then get access to another area, to finally get another upgrade to the keycard to get access to another area. But during this fetch quest, I got a trophy for expanding my inventory to the max. Now came G Stage 3 fight time. This area was a little bigger than the previous one, which was nice. But Little Willie also got bigger, which wasn't so nice. But gave him a little tickle and he was finally finished off. After beating him, I was finally reunited with the love of my life. I had recently found out that she wasn't as good of a girl as she had me believing. For starters, she's kissed a guy before she met me. Less importantly, she works for an organization that wants to steal the G virus. Well, couldn't let that slide, and I threw her off the ledge into the deep abyss. Just kidding. I still love her, and I tried to save her, but it just wasn't strong enough. So, goodbye, Ada. Now, this left me with the final boss, the Super Tyrant. Finally, the game changed things up, and the boss arena was bigger. Also, just kidding. It was maybe even the smallest one. Against a very large and very hatless Mr. X, roided up. I threw basically every last piece of ammo I had, made him cry like a little baby back bitch, before blowing him up with an RPG. Given to us by Ada? Maybe? And since I beat him so quickly, I got a trophy for defeating the Super Tyrant with 5+ minutes left until detonation. And he blew up, and I ran off to meet up with Claire and a random little girl she found on the street, thus concluding my first playthrough of Resident Evil 2. It's got me a very nice trophy for completing Leon's story. And then I got a trophy for completing the game without using any healing items. Now on to the second playthrough playing as Claire. So it's basically the exact same story with some slight alterations. For one, there is no Claire on Ada action, which is a bummer. Secondly, we meet Sherry, a little girl running away from a man who I can only assume has a very tiny package. This playthrough was stressful because I was going for the no item box playthrough. Some items you can't discard ever if you pass a certain part and you didn't use them yet. So with that in mind, I made my way through with the game. Towards the midpoint, when we are under the police department, we run into Sherry. And Needle Dickman takes her, and now we have a Sherry segment. This was tense as I'm not used to playing as a little girl. She can't attack, can't really run that fast. She just kind of prances around and hides. And we are running from a big man in a little house. But eventually I outsmart him, and he gets killed by the big meat man, and I get a trophy for completing Sherry's segment. A lot of the game is pretty similar again until the research facility. I learned that William Birkin is actually Sherry's dad, and her mom doesn't give a shit about saving her, so it is up to me to cure the now sick Sherry. I eventually am able to kind of just thrust into the final boss against stage 4G. And Jesus, this guy doesn't leave me alone. Since I couldn't use my item box, I had to use what was in my little backpack and try to finish him off fast. Pause. To defeat the big monster as quickly as possible. With only a couple of seconds left, I defeated him, got a trophy for defeating stage 4G with 4+ minutes left until detonation. Then met up with my boy Leon and got trophies for completing the game without using the item box, and a trophy for completing Claire's story. Playthrough 2 officially done. My third playthrough, I decided to go for the finishing the game in under 14,000 steps and speedrun trophies. So I loaded up Leon's B campaign and got to work. This was honestly super stressful because every step I took, I had to think if it was the right step or not. 14,000 steps seems like a lot, but I found out it definitely is not. On my way to doing this, I got the trophies for destroying all the Mr. Raccoon. B campaign ended up being mostly the same as A with slight variations. The enemies were harder earlier on. There was an extra boss at the end, but I eventually got to the train monster, which posed very little resistance, and I finished this campaign. Got the trophy for completing Leon's campaign on normal or hardcore with an S rank. But I also got a trophy for witnessing the true ending. And I got a trophy for taking less than 14,000 steps, and I ended up coming very close to that. Like way too close for comfort. Playthrough 3 complete. Now I had a big decision to make. Did I want to go to Claire's B campaign blind and just kind of enjoy it? Or did I want to use a guide so I can combine her hardcore run with her speedrun? Well, since all the campaigns are pretty much the exact same, I opted for a guide to combine them. Even though the campaigns are similar, I still hadn't played the B campaign yet, and there was enough differences that if you never played it, there was no way you were getting an S rank doing it blind. So I combined the two playthroughs. I was flying through it now that I had the weakest pistol with unlimited ammo. Got to Sherry's section and escaped the bedroom within 60 seconds and got that trophy. Got another collectible trophy for reading all of the files. I finally made it to the end game. I felt like I was going very fast, but still somehow not fast enough. I finally finished the game and got an S rank, and I'm not even joking, it was like by a minute or so. I came within a few minutes of having to redo an entire campaign. I got the trophies for Claire's story on hardcore and a trophy for completing Claire's story with an S rank on standard or hardcore. Before starting my last playthrough, I decided to jump in and do the 4th survivor mode. This mode definitely wasn't easy. We were playing as a random soldier and have to go through a funhouse of the whole map to escape. And without using a guide, this takes a lot of time because it just kind of turns into, do you know exactly what enemy is around this corner and exactly how many bullets are needed to get through it? So it kind of just becomes trial and error, or if you want to save time, looking at a guide. One of my first attempts, I got right towards the end and died from Mr. X because I missed a headshot on him. Dude, you gotta be... Dude, he just triple hit me? Dude, fuck yeah, auto aim? My dick auto aim, man. What the fuck was that? But I eventually got back to that part, finished the mode, getting a trophy for completing 4th survivor mode. Now came the last playthrough, which was Leon's story on hardcore. Honestly, this was a breeze. Had a machine gun with unlimited ammo from S rank and Claire's hardcore mode, so I kind of just unloaded on every enemy. Wait. I just kept emptying machine gun clips into the enemies. Better. On my way, got the last miscellaneous trophy for using photo hints and finding 2 hidden items. Eventually got to the end and smacked a wiener coat that is Super Mr. X and finished the game. Getting me my final trophy for completing Leon's campaign on hardcore, and then the sweet, sweet platinum popped shortly after. But for you completionists out there, my journey was still not done. I had the last DLC pack to do. This was basically completing 3 game modes while getting the Mr. Raccoons. These modes vary in difficulty and they're all pretty similar to the 4th survivor. I had my fair share of deaths during these. By the time I got to the 3rd one, I ended up dropping the difficulty. I got to the last room of it and ended up dying because I had to go get the Mr. Raccoon. And this just made me mad after spending hours playing this. So I dropped the difficulty, quickly breezed through it, and unlocked the 4th and final mode, No Way Out. This is the infamous mode of this game. And I quickly shot the last Mr. Raccoon and got the trophy for it. And all that stood between me and freedom was completing this mode. And I died several times during this. The goal is simple. Kill 100 zombies and you win. My first try, I got into the 70s, but ended up dying to some nonsense. I ended up having a pretty long stretch of rough runs that looked similar to this. Oh, you got, dude. Okay. Well, guys, fuck off of me, bro. Of course. So, naturally. Yeah, I'm gonna die again. I don't like this game, Trent. In case you were wondering. Oh my god, they're so fast! Dude, I don't understand! It makes no sense at all to me. Dude, no. It's gonna fucking kill me, man. Why? Why do they instantly fucking attack? Oh my god! Can't leave you alone for anything, huh? Guys, I fucking got this right now, though. Because there's one little fucking thing around. Where is it? Look at this. Let's fucking kill him. Oh my god, hell of the sheriff. Complete the no way out scenario. Holy shit. View trophies. Look at that, the 100%, guys. Oh my. Finally, this is done. Our game's finally finished. Oh, that was horrible. As I'm so glad we got through that. Oh my. I finally beat it and got the final trophy for completing No Way Out. On to the rankings. For difficulty, I'm going to give this game a 5 out of 10. Nothing outside of that one DLC trophy is particularly difficult. There's some things on hardcore that feel a little unfair at times, but there's some easy ways to deal with pretty much every enemy and area, which really stops this number from going any higher. For grind, I was going back and forth between 4 and 5. I landed on 5 because although each playthrough is pretty short, like 2 hours short, you still have to play through the campaign like 5 or 6 times, and it just starts to feel pretty repetitive by the end of it. If you're looking at just time investment, I'd go with 4. If you look at the boredom of playing the same campaign over and over, I'm gonna go with 5. And that gives us a true score of 5 out of 10. For the BS meter, for those of you who don't know, this is either a 0 or a 1. It gets added to the true score. If there is a mechanic that is outside of normal gameplay required to complete it, I give it a 1. This game gets a 0 on the BS meter. This game is brilliantly made and is just fun to go through for the most part. Just gotta learn the feeling of aiming and it'll go pretty smoothly. That gives a final true ranking of 5 out of 10. For the recommendation, I'm going to give this a 6 out of 10. Yes, there are a lot of playthroughs, but the game is still a joy to go through, and I can definitely see why so many people love this game and say that it's the best Resident Evil game ever made. It's definitely worth playing and going for that platinum. Thank you everyone who tuned in to see me lose my mind. Remember to like, comment, and subscribe so you can follow along with the rest of this challenge and continue to see me quickly lose my sanity. We stream every game for this challenge over at Twitch, and I will leave a link in the description below. Lastly, we have a Discord, which will also have a link in the description. Have roles for completing certain games, as well as a channel to request help with trophies, where I will either hop in the game to help you, drop items or weapons so you don't need my help, or at the very least give tips and tricks on how I went about getting the trophy. I will see you guys in the next video where I play Quake 2, a game made in 1834. Or something like that. Now, if I could just figure out where the off switch is.